Going on, everybody? Good old JM here with you on this Throwback Thursday as we present yet another out of the archives right here on the Casa D18 Studios. JJ, I know, has been working tirelessly to comb through everything on the NoDQ channel, on the Jeff Meacham Network, on his own Casa D18 Studios, on the J. Hebert 95 Studios, the Simple Man brand, to present to you something that you may not have seen before, something that you haven't seen in a long time, perhaps. I know I'm looking forward to what the Renegade has in store, and I hope you are too. Kick your feet up, enjoy a little respite from the craziness of a Thursday, and enjoy this classic content right here on the Casa D18 Studios.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
It's out of my hands, but I'm still in control. It's out of my hands. You can never take away the power of my soul.
Scan the QR codes to see what's upcoming for FTW Productions and what's available on demand right now. Button Master Stable Wars entire playlist. FTW Productions Watch Party for WrestleMania Go Home Raw. Mistress Audio Dramatic Readings featuring voice actors from Weymouth Youth Wrestling. All Retro Wrestling Review Series videos on demand and upcoming. All WrestleMania themed retros available now on demand. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order Let's Play Series. WrestleMania 19 Revenge Mode Let's Play Series. All of A Simple Man's Brand Simply Predicting panels. Both episodes of The Don DeMarco Show. AEW Spark, WWE Aftershock, every show week by week. Indy Force Episode 26, available now on demand. Jeff Meacham Network, all watch-along events. AEW Double or Nothing Dynamite Go Home Show Watch Party, available now on demand. A Simple Take, WWE Simple Takes featuring Casa D18 Studios. Super Mario Bros. Z voice acting. Episode 3 coming soon. Breaking news. ATW View Impromptu, WYW Intro and Immortal Stream, Wrestling with Idiocy Episode 8, Fast Food and Restaurants Discussion. Plugs have concluded. On to the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are about to witness is one of the greatest pro wrestling event cards in all of history. I'm your host, James Friedman, and joining me alongside this Team AEW review, the simple man Noah Foster, and the King A-Train himself. Running down tonight's cards are the following. We're running down the card for Full Gear on Saturday, the 13th of November. The card reads as follows. Continuing the blood-soaked rivalry. We have one of the most anticipated matches of the year. Eddie Kingston, CM Punk. In a battle of former friends turned bitter rivals, we have the World Championship on the line. Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. A number one contender will be decided for that championship as the man formerly known as Rusev, now going by the Redeemer Nero. Apparently, he's been trying to contact me. I don't know what I did. Nonetheless, I told him I'd get back to him 2 to 3 business days. But the fucker still won't listen. Bryan Danielson will be my personal favorite to try to shut him up until I get back to him in 2 to 3 days. Nonetheless, that final should be a banger, as the young kids call it nowadays. The AEW World Championship between 2 women that have great in-ring ability and great to look at with their in-ring abilities, if you get my drift. Britt Baker versus Tay Conti in a bitter rivalry that is an extension of the trios match that will be taking place that night as Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, being the boyfriend of Anna Jay, who's best friends with Tay Conti. Continuity. They will be taking on the Super Clique of Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. And Adam Cole is baby to Britt Baker, you see. The Inner Circle will be fighting Men of the Year and American Top Team in what should be a very fun and very chaotic street fight. All I know is I saw Abraham Lincoln as God himself. I have seen Abraham Lincoln do the Boston Crab before. Who was that guy that they called Rocky? Rocky, right? His name is Rocky. Rocky Johnson. That's his name, right? I am actually an Asaurian because I am Morgan Freeman. I see that. We have the Lucha Brothers. We got the Lucha Brothers versus FTR. And what should be a battle of tag team synergy and tag team difference. We have a very interesting tale of Cody Rhodes as he teams up with unlikely allied Pac to take on the House of Black or the House of Idolo. Whose house is it? I don't even know. I tried to get some information about their estate. I have no idea what's going on there. But all I know is that the House of Black and/or Idolo are teaming up to fight Pac and Cody Rhodes. Will Cody have somebody turn on him? Who the hell knows? QT already did it. It probably will happen. The pre-show, Nyla Rose and Jamie Kawashita and Thunder Rosa. Darby Allin takes on MJF. I hope that Darby Allin shuts that Rick Snob's mouth. He's making me look bad. He calls himself Salt of the Earth. I invented the fucking salt. And thus, I believe that runs down in a very haphazard way. A great night for professional wrestling. And thus concludes the voice of freedom. I was so hard not to break, dude. It's so hard not to break. I was like, they're laughing, and I'm trying to just not break.
Oh my God, that was great. That was good, bro.
Oh my God, that was so damn good. Bravo, ladies and gentlemen, the voice talent of he's different, the Archangel, James Hebert, and an absolutely incredible, one-of-a-kind reduction, and a great, simple rundown of the match card. As yes, we are ATW, and we're back to once again bring you another ATW View All Elite Edition as we run down the last pay-per-view of 2021 in All Elite Wrestling.
By the way, I'm not the host. By the way, I'm not actually the host. That was just for that bit. But that said, I can tell you.
Well, thank you, James Freeman. And with that being said, folks, hello and welcome once again to another ATW View. I am the host with the most simple man. My name is Noah Foster, and with me, of course, tonight is the ATW crew. In this form tonight, I, of course, have the All Elite man himself, King A-Train. What's up, brother? Too sweet, me. Good to see you. And as you subtly heard, my great friend James Hebert with an incredible Morgan Freeman impression that I feel would really put other actors to the test. And if you want him, folks, your openings of Into the Wormhole, you can find him on Twitter. The link will be in the description down below for his Twitter handle. That being said, gentlemen.
Wrestling, don't forget to check that out too.
Of course, we must be wrestling because you are a freaking digital content creator and a good one at that too. But that being just give it the card. It's even blurred. The camera's nice. So that's all right. But that being said, gentlemen, it's another incredible, exciting, exhilarating, passionate, reinvigorating night of professional wrestling ahead for us. We're going to be in for the long haul. As of course, this pay will be available on the BR app right here in good old-fashioned America for $50. And, of course, on the Fight Network app internationally for a cheaper rate.
Oh, it is going to be on Fight TV.
Yeah, and also you can find it in select Cinemark feeders as well. So people, try and find your way to enjoy this and make a fan out of a friend if you can, whether new or lapsed. I dare you to try.
AEW is about to make a boatload of money right now, I'm telling you.
And then they absolutely deserve it. That being said, gentlemen, yeah, we got 10 matches. Let's go ahead and just go right into it. As you saw, they alluded to. Now, I know it probably makes sense to start with the buy-in, so fine. We'll start logically. And then we'll go from there because I feel like the rest of the card, I have no idea what the order is going to be. But let's go ahead and start talking about this match. As you alluded to, on the buy-in, we have a women's tag team match as Nyla Rose and Jamie Hayter tag up to take on Thunder Rosa and Hikaru Shida. And of course, this is a preview of the upcoming TPS tournament matches to come in, I guess you could say, the quarterfinals. That being said, I feel like this match kind of writes itself.
Yeah.
I look at Thunder Rosa and Shida, the second time they're tagging together. First time they didn't lose. Previous outing, of course, was against Ivelisse and Diamante. I look at the favoritism towards the participants in the tournament. I can't go against Thunder Rosa, and Nyla Rose does not work well with others. I got to go with Shida and Thunder Rosa for the win here. It's as simple as that, but it should be a great competitive contest. King, your thoughts on this tag match?
This tag match on the buy-in, I feel like it's going to get us going, you know, get us our blood pumping, get us ready for the full gear pay-per-view with this buy-in.
Oh, yeah, big
with
time.
all these four, with all these four participants in the TBS Women's Championship tournament. And you know, like you touched on, Noah, Nyla does not play well with others. And I think we're going to see that against Jamie Hayter, because remember, Jamie Hayter is the, you know, I say mercenary to Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
That's
so
accurate.
Basically with that alone, you know, Nyla's still trying to get back, you know, at Britt just a little bit, because remember what happened back at what was it, the Dynamite after Double or Nothing, that when Britt had her celebration on that Dynamite, and then Nyla threw, what was it, a Big Mac at Britt and whatnot,
Yes.
that started that little food fight.
That was so good.
So
I don't know why I love that segment, but it's so fucking good.
To be fair, I'm
So
not a
it,
big
like-
fan of McDonald's either, except for their breakfast, but that's going off topic. Continue, King.
It's like you can, you know, logistically bring it around with that, and that's going to probably
Yeah.
play into a factor, basically saying, okay, you're with Britt, okay, we're going to get along, but if you step in my way, I'm going to destroy you. So, and that's what's going to happen. I can see Thunder Rosa and Hikaru Shida getting a win here, and that's what I
just
predict on
off
that.
that alone, long-term storytelling usually plays a factor, even in the matches in the buy-in. That said, though, you know, the whole idea of the buy-in is to get additional buys, right? So making you buy in just by showing what the heck's going to happen on the main pay-per-view itself, then providing you with a free match to entice you to possibly buy the pay-per-view. Every time they've put the women on, man, recently this year, it's been a banger. Last time we had a banger like this was Serena Deeb and Riho at All Out, which was fucking tremendous. I think this is going to be no different. We got 4 really great wrestlers here that are going to tear the house down to kick off the night. 100%.
I agree, but by the way, James, botch. It was Double or Nothing.
Sorry, did I say All Out? Listen,
You did. All
That
Out
was
was the
Double.
10-man tag. But
right, yeah, All Out.
the context is there. I get what you're saying. The context is there. All right. Well, that seemed pretty simple. Let's go ahead and move on to our next match. And you think about a lot of these matches, the story tone, the emotional investment, and the way that these matches can turn on a dime. While there's suspension of disbelief, and I'm sure obvious thinking for several of these, I feel several of these matches could actually go either way. And honestly, if you're going to try and pin one, there's a 100% chance that guy's winning. It might be one of the title matches, but I will leave that to suspension of disbelief based on what y'all might think too. But that being said, let's go ahead and talk about something that leads towards a championship match, future contention, as God's former favorite champion. Miro, the Redeemer, seeks redemption against the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, in the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament final. That's a mouthful. Well, we've already watched the countdown special, and we pretty much have seen now how far both these men are willing to go. Honestly, they have not met each other in one-on-one action, unless you count their history under a previous employer back in 2018. And again, it seems like a similar setup to a degree when you think about Bryan Danielson's been putting in the work, instant classic since showing up in AEW, where he simply wants to be in the professional wrestling company that does professional wrestling at its best. And that's not a shoot. That's just fact. And then you have Miro, a guy who has looked incredibly strong since being part of AEW, former TNT champion, and right now is on this prayer, it seems, to find favoritism in not only his God, but his wife, I guess. And now he's trying to make it personal with Bryan Danielson's wife, saying that you will have to kneel before your broken husband. Both of these men are incredible technicians and are fierce brawlers, and I'm sure Bryan Danielson cannot wait to get either chopped or kicked in the chest, both of which I think are going to happen. But I'm not going to start off with predictions this time. I'm going to start off with you, James. Who takes the tournament?
Ooh, if you were to start this off before Moxley got had to go for rehab, I would have said that Bryan was winning this easily. But Miro being inserted the way he's being inserted now, and again, this will go in line to one of my later predictions. I'm not so sure anymore that it's going to be Bryan. I think Miro takes it. I think Miro's going to get the shot. I don't think he's going to win the title by any means, but I do feel as if he's going to get a shot at the very least. This is his gateway to get that shot. And if it happens, I think this is going to be leading into their show, Winter is Coming, or whatever their December show is going to be called. Might still be called that, who knows? But I think Miro's going to get the shot and challenge either Hangman or Kenny. Won't spoil my prediction for later, but it's going to either be Hangman or Kenny. And I think Miro's going to get the shot regardless. And again, I'll save my prediction for that later, but I think Miro's going to take this.
All right, a very interesting point. Again, it was Miro under the former employer that did get the best of Bryan Danielson in his former identity. So again, you are also going with continuity. But let's see what the King has to say about this. King, your thoughts on this? Again, the American Dragon, technically he is undefeated. The only thing he's had is a 30-minute draw, and that was his in-ring debut. He's definitely been putting in more of the ring work, but Miro is definitely, I feel, the more refreshed here. But we know Bryan Danielson can target his neck, which apparently could be Miro's kryptonite. Your thoughts on this?
And I'm glad you touched on that, because remember what Miro said, that he has neck issues. And I feel like with Bryan, with his, wrestling style, going after a certain body part, that's exactly what he's going to go for. He's going to go after that neck. But also with Bryan, ever since he came to AEW, he's been putting on banger of a banger of a banger of a banger,
Right.
making his case to be basically on Pro Wrestling Illustrated's top 500, basically probably being #1 wrestler of the year in this.
He's going to be the #1 wrestler of the year. He's already run away with it.
He's a top candidate for 2022 already, and he's had less than 10 matches in AEW.
And not to mention his work with the WWE before that. I mean, he's had bangers in 2 different companies. He's made stars in 2 different companies. There's no way he's not getting wrestled. There's no.
That being said, let's continue with the King's thoughts.
Exactly, and I'm glad y'all touched on that as well. Like, followed up on that, and then with Miro, he just coming off a TNT title reign, which I feel like was his dominant run as champion in within the TNT title's history. Besides, the great Brody Lee, God rest his soul. Like, with him losing that TNT title, it's made him a more dangerous Miro, like a more aggressive, more dangerous, more like, I want to get another goal, and I want to be God's favorite champion, so I can be that redeem my God with the with the AEW World Title. I'm gonna go with Miro in this case, because like James said, I did have Bryan going in as the winner, but with Moxley, get well soon, Mox. We can't wait to see your return. We can't wait. I did have basically Bryan going against Mox and then Bryan winning, but with Miro inserted, and with the way he's been on this run after that TNT title, he just had. I'm gonna go with Miro. Miro's going to be the one to basically be that #1 contendership, but is he going to take the title off of who I'm going to say later on when we get down to that match? No, but I can definitely see a dominant showing for when it happens. When it comes to Miro in that AEW World Title match, I can see a dominant showing without a doubt.
That's another thing. Like, we all say it's for sure that it would have been Mox, or I'm sorry, it would have been Bryan. But thinking of the way they've been building everything up on the other side as well for the title match, was it that sure? Would it have been Moxley in the spot? Because I'm almost convinced it would have been, because there is that natural story. Now, obviously, we can't have that because of what's going on with Mox, but a Miro and Paige match, if Paige wins the title, sounds like a money match on paper. And that Hangman's going to go over. There's no disputing that if that happens. But the way to do it would be to have him win this eliminated tournament. And I also want to point out as well, to add to your point, King, you touched on how Miro has head injuries and the neck injuries, but so does Bryan.
Yep.
It's well documented. So I think while Bryan is focused on doing that to him, there's going to be a point in time where I feel like they're going to tell the story of Bryan's forgetting he has these issues as well, and Miro knows them very well, and he's targeted them before in the WWE. You know he's going to do the same thing here in this match. So I think that's what the story is going to be. Who the hell's going to get knocked out? Who the hell's going to pass out when it's all said and done?
Very
Whether
well
that be
said.
the LaBelle lock or game over.
Yeah.
Or do we get a cycle knee or a monster kick? Because it was a kick that did give the former Rusev the victory in their previous encounter back in 2018, and that was to qualify for something different. Again, this is to qualify though for the championship, to challenge for the championship of this company, the AEW World Championship. You both brought compelling.
And another thing, I love the story of the match because the reason why Rusev has been doing the whole neck injury spot. Remember, he had a slight neck injury in the WWE, which is why he was out during the whole Lashley debacle.
Yes.
So they brought that into this canon here. So, and it really does come down to it, like, who will win? I'm wondering if it's Rusev with the Mosca kick, because remember, you want to talk about continuity's sake on the other side. A kick is what almost retired Bryan completely.
Correct.
Remember the bro kick. So there's a lot here. There's a lot of fucking elements, subtle elements in this story between Bryan and Miro, and I think we're gonna get a banger on Saturday, no question.
It wouldn't surprise me if this opened. It wouldn't surprise me if this opened the main show like it did last year with Kenny and Hangman. And again, like I said, when it comes to these matches, many of them could go either way. You all brought up very strong, compelling points from a physical and from a narrative standpoint why Miro should win. But I'm the opposite of you. I went with the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. Again, I think about his run so far in AEW, whether he faces a heel or a face champion, based on what we might say later, either of those are entirely possible scenarios, and you know he's going to deliver with either competitor, one of which he's already been in the ring with. Ironically, though, going back to Moxley, take care, my friend, I feel like, though, that we were on the verge of Moxley versus maybe what we might talk about later, because if you remember at the end of the Casino Ladder match, it was Hangman and Moxley that were the last two on that ladder before Hangman grabbed the chip. Again, that will be something to think about down the line. As far as
I think they're still going to run that story. I mean, the natural matches. In fact, Moxley, and the fact that he went out when he did may have been the best thing for Paige. Ironically, not that you want to see this at all happen, right? But again, get well soon, Mox. But I say that it's the best thing for Hangman because after Mox, after Omega, and maybe after possibly Matt Jackson, I could see a match happen on TV with those two, and maybe a potential matchup between him and Adam Cole. Who else do you really have other than him and MJF, who he obviously, that's the end feud of his title reign. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. So Miro coming in when he did was the best thing that could happen for Paige, because now we got a fresh feud to do some more long-term storytelling with him and Moxley later on down the line, and then him and Cole later down the line, et cetera, so on and so forth. So it's going to be really interesting for the next 6 months of AEW, and they've been nailing it out of the park lately with their television.
Well, again, you also got to consider what Tony Khan alluded to for those listening to AEW Restricted. This is the first pay-per-view for this, basically, reformation of this roster, this form of the roster. Again, many of these are first-time names you see on AEW pay-per-view. And again, Bryan Danielson, like you said, he's been putting in the work. He's been pulling out bangers. But I went for the fact that I feel like he's going to get that win back from over 3 years ago, actually. And I feel that Bryan Danielson versus could be a match no matter which way you cut it. Hey, it could be a future draw for all we know. AEW has yet to do any sort of matches that end on like a count-out, besides the double count-out thing, and they have yet to do a match, unbelievably, that ended on a disqualification. But something to me right now feels like that Bryan Danielson is just too red hot to diffuse right now. He has no off switch. He has no slower gear, it seems, going with the full gear stuff. So I have Bryan Danielson pulling the win out here with a Redeemer that's going to fight till his last breath and probably take more than one cycle knee. I have Bryan Danielson.
Is he going to show off his submission chops, Miro? Because remember,
That's the thing.
he's a former amateur, right? That's why the WWE signed him all that time ago.
Yes.
So
Correct.
you have that. Like, this is gonna be a match of the year candidate. I'm telling. Like,
No doubt.
Without a doubt.
No doubt.
Like, this is not the same Miro that was so watered down. Like, this is a whole new Miro, and he's been having bangers since he's won the TNT title.
Yep.
His match with Sammy Guevara was proof that he's not just a one-trick pony. So he's gonna have a great match with Danielson. I'll honestly be happy with whoever wins. Honestly, I'm just here for the ride.
That's the beauty of this pay-per-view. Again, most of these matches were 5. They go either way because either way you have something that you know is going to compel you continue watching going forward. It's not like hot shot booking or one-sided booking or political booking here. And again, it comes down to how you get to the end, not necessarily what is the ending result. So if this opens the show, literally possibilities for whoever challenge whatever champion that holds that title, I'm fine with any combination. But right now, it's 2 against 1. I'm against you guys. I'm going with Bryan Danielson. And again, folks, you want to join the fun, be part of the predictions, there's a forum on my Twitter, link in the description down below. Also, link to the forum down too. Let your opinions be heard. Come and be all leave. This is your first time. I feel you won't be disappointed. And join the fun too. King and Casey, I'm coming for both of you. That being said, that's an ATW feud, folks. Don't worry about that. That being said, let's go ahead and move into our next match. And let's go ahead and change things up into a tag bout where, at the end of the day, does what one Jake the Snake Roberts, Hail Mighty Caesar, said on his debut, finally catch up with who's basically been called the Caesar of AEW. In the American Nightmare, Cody, tagging with the most unorthodox and unexpected of allies, still bitter enemies, the bastard Pac, taking on former friends, Malachi Black and Andrade El Idolo. So let's go ahead and try and look at the story going on here. Ever since Malachi Black became part of AEW, he has made Cody's life a living psychological hell. And everything that Malachi Black has done to everybody that's Cody has been in some sort of connection with has influenced Cody, either his tone approach with the audience or his way he comes to the ring, now to the point that Arn Anderson had to pull out his Glock, figuratively speaking, and basically try to remind Cody, damn it, are you here to be a pro wrestler? Are you here to be an entertainer? And now we come to Cody and Malachi Black and Andrade El Idolo and Pac coexisting under one match after Pac and Andrade had 2 bangers, they're one-on-one, and Malachi Black and Cody have had a series of 3 matches where finally Cody did overcome Malachi Black, but Malachi Black still says the house always wins in the end because think about it, Cody. Look at what I made you do. Look at how the audience reacts to you. And since this last promo, he said there might be a traitor among your midst. We've seen how many people have turned their back on Cody, starting all the way back with MJF. Then you continue forward with QT. I gotta wonder who is next to betray him and the Nightmare family. I have suspicions, and I'm worried about them, but I also wonder could be our first surprise tonight. That being said, it's a tag match. The whole problem, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Pac simply says, we're just united in this tag match. Afterwards, we're done. I think regardless of result, Pac is going to literally kick Cody's ass. But based on what I've been seeing so far and how this basically alliance, it seems, has been growing and getting stronger, I have Malachi Black and Andrade Idolo going forward here. And Cody, once again, furthering questioning himself. What is going on here? What do I need to do? Who can I trust? I'm sure the coach will be out there too. Does Cody maybe suspect Arn Anderson? Because Arn is no stranger to doing that in this past either. Train Cody too. But regardless, I got the opposition. I got Andrade and Malachi Black going forward. And maybe we'll get into a House of Black. That's all I got to say about that. King, your thoughts in this tag match?
Oh, man, you literally took the words out of my mouth, dude. With everything you touched on. Because, like, Malachi has been in Cody's head. And is basically living rent-free because of the fact that, like you said, he has, like, the crowd reaction that every time that Cody has came out before these past 2 weeks has always been negative, has always been loud boos. And those loud and that promo he cut a few weeks back on Dynamite saying, I will not turn heel. It's too easy. And then continued on with the rest of that promo. And he's slowly getting those fans back just because of that promo alone. But I feel like with this tag match, like you said, there could be a traitor among the midst. I have two in mind. If there was to be a surprise, I have two in mind. One, you've already said it could be Arn because of the way how he's been acting as of late. Two, and don't come for me if you're watching this video whenever it gets uploaded. Do not come for me. But I have the second one. Oh boy, Dustin. There, I said it.
Yeah,
Dustin.
Yeah. I think Dustin. So, I'll go as far as to say Dustin's my number one to portray Cody. Because I think that's how they're building it. The way they're building this is like you want the diversion is, and you see this in law films like Law and Order all the time and NCIS all the time. They want you to think it's the fucking obvious with Arn, but in reality, it was right under your nose the whole time, and it was Dustin.
And that's
especially with the way he's been acting lately.
Exactly. Essentially, after that match he had against Malachi, like what was it, last month, 2 months ago? I can't remember. But I remember it was on Dynamite.
It was. So I saw it live.
Exactly. You lucky man. But other than that, I feel like, it is going to be like, I feel like, in my opinion, the obvious is Arn, but watch at Full Gear if it does happen. The surprise is going to have everybody stunned and everybody shocked and be like, oh my God, Dustin's the traitor. But as far as my prediction goes, with the way how Malachi and Andrade been on as of late, ever since, the former friends have been together once again, I gotta go with Malachi and Andrade El Idolo. I got to in this case.
Yeah. I think we're all in agreement. It's going to be them. Do we want to add? I think the real question is: do we want to add who betrays Cody and give other people in the predictions league an opportunity to earn an extra bonus? That's my question, because that's a huge prediction there.
It is a huge one. It is a huge prediction. Honestly, it could be a tiebreaker now that I think about it. I'll run it by NoDQ because I just went up the NoDQ way, of course. But as far as ATW, I definitely agree that that's a definite solid idea. So King thinks Dustin is secondary, Arn is primary, and honestly, those are the only two in my mind as well. Because as much as I don't want to believe it's Dustin because of his passion,
yeah, you know what? I like that.
Because of his connection with the fans, because of his role and mentorship, not just in AEW, but his Rose Wrestling Academy. And by the way, showcase number 3 is Sunday evening on the Rose Wrestling Academy channel on YouTube. Go check it out, folks. Shauna Reed, good luck. I hope you become the first ever Rose Wrestling Academy Women's Champion. I just find it hard to believe Dustin ever betraying his integrity for brotherly rivalry. I mean, it's already been said that many people think that Dustin is the better wrestler than Cody. And honestly, I'm not going to argue that, because honestly, when I look at Cody and Dustin's matches, I go back and look at Dustin's matches more than Cody. I've always been more of a fan of Dustin Rhodes too than Cody. I'm just saying that as a fan. So again, it's a lot to figure about, but we'll have to wait and see. But as far as, like I said, we're pretty much all unanimous here. We either think it's Arn or Dustin. There really is no other one we could think of at this point with correlation to Cody that could be the traitor in the midst that is as close to Cody as Malachi Black is indicating. It too.
In the House of Black.
There you go. Enough said.
And by the way, that's not even considering the additions that the House of Black and the Pinnacle and an entirety could get. I mean, you touched on it right at the beginning. Jake Roberts and Lance Archer could be joining this the whole deal. And who's to say that they don't get other guys involved in that as well? There could be super group forming right here in front of our eyes, taking over the very fabric of AEW, which all could lead to people like Black and Andrade and eventually MJF all holding world title gold, because again, Forbidden Door. The story could be that was a mistake because now they have everything.
Well, again, hostile takeover, the very face of AEW changes, a revolution upon us, 2 years in the making. You saw what started the company. Now you see who's really taking over the company. But again, we'll have to wait and see.
That's not even, and we're not even considering the fact that the Elite could join that again as well, and along with the Era, and that's subtly being teased as well. We don't know if that could be a part of the grand story that they're going to tell.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned the Elite, because I think about the Elite. I think about the Elite's entire future, and I think that King should start off talking about this match when it comes to his boys. Because we're going to talk about the Falls Count Anywhere Trios match now, as the Super Click, Adam Cole, baby, and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, the former AEW World Tag Team Champions, I might add, take on Jurassic Express's Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and Christian Cage. And simply here, we're going to find out who truly is the most violent. But I got to wonder, I am a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. You know this. I've watched everything, including NJPW. It was back at Wrestle Kingdom 13 where everyone in the Elite had a losing effort. Are we on the verge of seeing the Elite lose their status quo in AEW? And does it start here with this trios match? King, you're on the bubble first. Your thoughts on this match?
My thoughts on this match, this goes back to Grand Slam, what was it, Rampage? When they first encountered.
Correct.
And we took home the win that match. But ever since then, it seems like Jungle Boy or Jurassic Express and Christian Cage has been gaining this momentum after like every time they've encountered. And I remember Wrestle Kingdom. I remember that event because that's when everybody in the Elite within the Bullet Club was had a losing effort all across their matches that they had.
Yep.
Now, to touch on that, do I see a losing effort starting this trios match? No, I don't see it because of the fact that, well, I feel like the Bucks and Cole, especially with the hit, well, of course, Adam Cole put the hit on Jungle Boy with the help of Bobby Fish. And it gave you a little tease of what could happen, in the future with that little interaction of Bobby Fish and Adam Cole. But that's down the topic if we want to talk about it later on in this video. I feel like the Bucks and Cole will be earning their second win over these guys. Kind of like, if I want to do a callback, kind of like the Shield and Evolution rivalry back then, like 2-0, kind of like a little sweet type thing. But do I see them losing? No. But where do I see them losing all the momentum? It starts with the main event when we get down to that video.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
All right. Well, I figure about this again. The only way that the Super Click has been able to beat these guys in particular is when they bend the rules. There are no rules. The fall can go anywhere, and we've seen how personal this has gotten with Christian Cage concertoing Adam Cole and Jungle Boy literally being thrown off the stage and Luchasaurus being powerbombed through a table. And we saw that they got their comeuppance this past Dynamite last week as well. They tried to take out Jungle Boy using a hitman in Bobby Fish, who has, of course, history with Adam Cole under a different era. And again, as you alluded to, I feel it's teases of things to come. James, your brief thoughts on this match. Do you agree with King?
Well, this is a tough one because I initially agree with King, but the more I thought about it and the more you explained that it is a false count anywhere scenario and anything can happen, part of me wonders, do you continue the whole possible dissension within the Elite and have Bobby Fish accidentally cost the Young Bucks and Adam Cole, and specifically the Young Bucks match, by accidentally kicking Matt Jackson when he was trying to kick Jungle Boy or Luchasaurus or Christian or somebody, and they just ducked out of the way in the nick of time. Like, what happens then? So that's why I think to myself, shit. All right. Huh. So it's a weird thing because either way I'm gonna be happy with the result is the point anyway. But
right,
it's a tough one to call I think I'm gonna go with Jurassic Express and Cage only because of the possibility of the fact that it is false count anywhere. Bobby Fish could interfere and accidentally hit one of his allies by mistake, and that could really cost them the match here, the Elite the match. So that's where I'm gonna say, yeah, probably Jurassic Express just for that alone.
All right.
Because the way everything's leading up here is like, okay, we're gonna get an Era and the Elite feud in a trios match. That's obviously happening. I mean, they made it so fucking blatant with shoot interviews and everything, and they don't do that for no reason, as we've come to find out. They wouldn't have them talk publicly the way they're talking.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, this is just they're biding time, and the way to buy time is to kind of plant the seeds now here at Full Gear for that inevitable Kyle O'Reilly debut, and then they all turn on the Elite right there in the middle of the ring, and there you go. And that you could even go further with it and maybe do a whole redemption angle of the Elite all reforming by having Adam Page getting taken out by not only the Era but the Pinnacle, which is why this is why I'm thinking they could be involved in this. We could see the initial Elite that started this whole AEW crusade all reformed to try to take out the Civil Force. That I really think that's happening here. Like the way everything is falling into place for it to happen. So we'll see what happens. I'm enjoying the fucking ride. That's what I'm doing. I'm ready for it.
Fair enough.
Whatever happens.
Well, basically, you kind of took my idea out of my mouth because, again, I feel like, again, the false can anywhere stipulation, it protects whoever in defeat because, again, it was gimmick. I feel like you're eventually setting up to Adam Cole and Jungle Boy being revisited. And I feel like Bobby Fish right here, he could play as an X Factor. And there could be miscommunication among the so-called Super Clique who seem to be always on the same page. I feel that Jurassic Express and Christian Cage are going to give the Super Clique their first loss. Sorry, King. But again, we'll have to wait and see, and we'll see what the aftermath is. That's the beauty of AEW, a sense of unpredictability. And you want to talk about a sense of history breaking and unpredictability. You talk about the man that claims he's better than you and you know it versus the one that is relentless in a battle that's more so not about your wrestling proficiency, but your unbreakable mentality as he's tried to hit him where it hurts, emotionally, physically, and mentally. And none of it has prevailed. If anything else, it's only further excited this man to complete what he needs to do. And that's why we're going to talk about Darby Allin taking on Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. To think, MJF talked about how he and Darby Allin are two of the four pillars of AEW and how so far he has beaten the other two in Jungle Boy and Sammy Guevara. MJF right now has already stated his claim that based on how great he is versus everybody else, he should be now AEW World Champion, or at least challenging for it next. You already subtly touched on the callback history in the very beginning of AEW, back at Double or Nothing 2019 Casino Battle Royale, where the final two were Heyman and Page and MJF. Maybe a sign of things to come, finally being revisited again, long-term storytelling. If a certain saga ends the way we might predict or might not predict, we'll have to wait and see. But again, we still have a lot of matches, so I'm going to try and keep this brief and simple and kick it off. MJF so far has been in two of the pillars. Darby Allin's the only one left. I look at what both men could get in defeat versus victory, while MJF technically only has 2 losses under his real singles AEW record. If he's going to call himself a contender or the next guy to be the AEW World Champion, despite the fact I feel like he and Wardlow are on the breaking point of finally breaking apart, and maybe he'll blame Wardlow for the loss here, I do somehow have, because it's a wrestling match, and when it comes to wrestling, MJF actually does wrestle pretty damn well. Darby Allin is relentless, and he's always a made man, even in defeat. And whether or not this is a one-off or a series to come, we'll have to wait and see. But again, this could be the super match of the night. I do have MJF winning.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all in agreement. We have to be, right? I mean, MJF can only bounce back from a loss so many times before you just don't listen to what he says anymore. You don't want to do the Bray Wyatt issue where he talked a big game, but he always ended up losing in the end. You don't want that with MJF.
No.
Now, MJF did legitimately beat Jericho 3 times before he eventually lost, and it was by devious circumstances anyway, which he pointed out, which means he was a justified heel, but he was an arrogant prick, and so he had the heat, and he was fine, right?
Yes.
In this situation, he's never fought in Derby before, at least on this stage, on this big of a scale. He has to be the one to go over here because he's the one that you're going to definitely be doing the most in the future. So you don't want him to lose. Darby can take the loss. He's still going to be probably involved in that big mega feud I pitched, and he'll be in the fold regardless. He's always going to be doing something. So to me, it's got to be MJF. I don't think there's anybody else that can win this match.
First time ever these two face each other as well in AEW. King, anything to add? Do you disagree?
I agree 100%. I'm gonna bring up this word, and I know y'all, heard me say it on previous ATW views. If you watch, one word when it comes to Darby, which I feel like MJF should get the win, but when it comes to Darby in defeat, there's one word I always use a lot when it comes to good records in AEW: bulletproof. Darby is bulletproof. He can afford to take another loss because, yes, he is relentless, but also with that relentlessness, he's also smart on knowing how to use it. But what we know about MJF is that he can counter that when it comes to his wrestling style and basically bounce back from a win, which I feel like, basically, if you want to build your next number one contender after the main event of what's going to go down between Omega and Page, and then when Miro gets done with his title match, if you want to build your next number one contender, which basically he's already challenged for the AEW World title before, and he even looked good in defeat against Moxley. If you want to revisit with MJF going after the title once again, I say go for it, because to be honest, MJF is basically a world champion, in my opinion. World champion, without a doubt. So I'm going with MJF.
No argument there. And again, the way his promo,
the star.
Yeah, the way his promo is like, I could beat you with a simple headlock takeover. I see that spot being visited in this match. We also know Darby Allin, though, is a very proficient wrestler because he even beat Cody simply with a simple turn of the body, roll up type maneuver. This could come down simply to wrestling fundamentals, because when it comes to MJF, he's a thinking man's professional wrestler. He breathes the psychological game. He pinpoints a body part. And again, he tries to pinpoint your weakness. Darby Allin has no weaknesses, in my opinion, it seems. The only weakness Darby Allin could have is if he doubts himself. But if his mentality is as unbreakable as he says, and he is relentless, I don't see that happening. We're in for a banger, but right now I just feel like MJF's going to continue to breathe that bravado, especially since now he wants to try and go after that AEW World Championship again, which I feel highly likely is to happen in 2022.
And by the way, let's just call it right now. This is going to be one of the many matches of the night here. I mean, you want to talk about a pure wrestling. You want to talk about a pure wrestling match, pure technical prowess. These two have it in fucking spades. They're the aces of spades here. They're gonna tear it down, dude. They're gonna tear it down with this match.
Yep. And for decades to come, as again, they are the two pillars of AEW, two homegrown original AEW talents to carry this company.
I can't wait for that four-way, the way they're building it up subtly. I can't fucking wait.
I could definitely see it happening, James. I could definitely see it happening. It's been a while since we've seen it in a four-way.
Possible for the TNT title. You never know.
True that, but right now the TNT title's in a stranglehold, and let's all pray to God that after this match, because I feel like we're not going to talk a lot about this one, because we have certain aspects in our MMA expert, Casey, by the way, member of ATW. I say the preacher man, our deepest prayers, condolences, and strength goes out to you in your time of family. So please take care, my friend. We hope to see you back on ATW soon. We got your back, brother. This match goes out to you. All right. We're going to talk about the Minneapolis Street Fight 10-man tag here as the Inner Circle takes on the Men of the Year and American Top Team. And we have Junior Dos Santos. We have Dan Lambert, the only guy that matters in this match. We're going to see him get punched in the face. And we have, someone help me with this other guy's name.
Andre Orlovsky.
See, I would never say that. Thank you.
Baby.
Andre Arlovsky. All right, let's go ahead and just briefly talk about this. Since American Top Team has invaded AEW and has gotten their butt kicked by the likes of everybody until they basically paired up Man of the Year, they've made the Man of the Year actually look like something a bit of a threat, not really focusing more so on them as wrestlers, but their MMA backgrounds, as Dan Lambert looks to push forward the mixed martial arts of today versus the wrestling outlook of today. And now we have the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho leading, of course, this clash of worlds here at the forefront. And so far, American Top Team and Man of the Year have gotten the better of the Inner Circle now on 2 occasions, nearly claiming the TNT Championship, which Sammy Guevara successfully retained in a very game match against one Ethan Page. There's a lot of unknowns here. We don't know necessarily how these MMA folks are going to handle themselves in a wrestling setting, even though it's not a wrestling match. It's a street fight, which of course means anything goes. Bottom line is this, though. The number one thing people hope to see is Dan Lambert get punched in the face, maybe Drew's effect, and pinned for the win. And that's why I'm simply going to say that I feel like this American Top Team saga, even if Paige Van Sant, which you know she's going to be involved in this some way, gets involved, I got to see the Inner Circle going over here and ending this thing once and for all.
I mean, we know they're getting over. Now,
they got to.
The question comes in of how they go over it. It's gonna be anybody's guess here.
Yeah, because let's look at the Inner Circle's history on pay-per-views. They've been in Stadium Stampede. Let's look at the Inner Circle's history in non-traditional matches. We've seen a cage fight with Hager and Wardlow. We've seen Mimosa Mayhem with Jericho and Orange Cassidy. We saw Blood and Guts finally with the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle. When it comes to these special matches, especially on pay-per-view, the Inner Circle always delivers a different type of showcasing, and usually they come out on top. Again, they right now won Stadium Stampede. I feel like they're going to win this meet-up street fight here, but again, this could go anywhere. We could see anybody. We could see anything. And that's why I feel like things like Paige Van Sant and maybe like chairs and tables, maybe a golf cart will get involved here. Maybe Dan Lambert will apply the cheapest freaking Boston crab I've ever seen in my life.
On purpose.
On purpose. I know. That's why I hate this guy and I love it at the same time. What a brilliant wrestling fool. He is a wrestling fan at heart. Gotta respect that. But yeah, regardless, how many people in American Top Team you bring, even Amanda Nunes, which would shock me. I know that's not going to happen, but I digress. I definitely got Inner Circle going over here. Does anyone else have anything to add?
I will add something because there is some history. Unless, Ken, you want to go first, and then I'll say my thing for last because I didn't want to cut you off if you had something.
Oh, man, you good, man. When it comes to Dan Lambert right now, at first when this feud started off, I really wasn't a big fan, and I both like wrestling and MMA. So I was like, I wasn't really into it. But the more like Dan Lambert has become a natural heel. Get this, folks, natural heel. And he's not even a wrestler. He's only a manager for a manager and owner for American Top Team. The way that he gets natural heel heat, it's just basically you want to hate the guy. Like you can't wait to get to see his ass. You can't wait for that to happen. And then plus, you brought up Amanda Nunes, and I'm glad you did. But there's also one other man that they want to do, and that's Jorge Masvidal.
Oh, that's right. The guy that gave Jericho the knee.
Exactly. So
the very same knee, by the way, that actually finished Ben Askren in second lap.
Exactly. So many people can think Paige Van Sant can get involved, but also you got to think of Jorge Masvidal as well in that. And let's not forget, and I just want to touch something real quick. Paige Van Sant looks like she is really comfortable in this feud with the way how she delivered her.
She's a future pro wrestling star in the making. She's already ready to come in.
Tony Khan really likes her too.
Like if she really no doubt in my mind she's coming in.
Like if Paige wants to continue this pro wrestling thing, she's more than welcome. I support it 100%.
I did look it up, and she hasn't been doing that well when it comes to the boxing stuff. So I think pro wrestling is going to be the next thing.
I personally want to see her face legit Layla Hirsch, because I was actually wondering if we were going to go in a weird angle where legit Layla Hirsch would join the Inner Circle for one night just for this match. Apparently not.
But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I got the Inner Circle winning this.
By the way, you mentioned Layla Hirsch, but you can't forget about Diamante. You know she's buddies with Proud and Powerful, so
True that.
there is that. I do want to give some history. I agree with I agree with both of your points, but I'll make my prediction after I go over the history of AEW and the way they've handled doing the MMA crossover is fucking masterful. Like, and I mean, what I mean by that is the way they produce their countdown shows is very similar to a UFC countdown show. The way they promote fighters and let fighters train athletes is tremendous. I love when it was months ago how they were hyping up Jake Hager's Bellator MMA record, and the very same show, John Moxley is having a getting trained by Randy Couture how to reverse the walls of Jericho. Like, it's fucking Randy Couture. Like, this is tremendous. It's so tremendous how they handle it. It's like people don't realize that there's a lot of fans that when they stopped watching the WWE, they went straight to MMA. I know a very good amount of people that just went straight to MMA. So to do the crossover, there is a crossover of fans that like both. AEW does it perfectly. And it all started at Double or Nothing, the inaugural event that launched AEW, at least in an official capacity. Amanda Nunes was in the fucking crowd, which I don't think people know of. There's not enough people that know that, but she was there. She appeared on Adam Wilborn when he was hosting Up, Up, Down, Down Live, because he was there in the MGM Grand for that event. So she just randomly showed up, and she's like, I love this show. And he's this fucking Amanda Nunes, and fucking Wilborn was freaking out. So there's a very good possibility that there is a future for not only Jorge Masvidal, not only Junior Dos Santos, Andre Arlovski, Paige Van Zandt, Amanda Nunes could come in.
One of the most legit female legit fighters in the world. And Thunder Rosa, of course, has MMA background too, but she's already involved in the match, which is why I wasn't counting her involved toward this as well. I definitely get where you're coming from. And also bring up another name, Mike Tyson. He's been involved in AEW as well.
And Tyson not only just Tyson, but Tyson also brought in guys like Vitor Belfort came in on Dynamite one time out of fucking nowhere. Like, these are prominent names in the MMA world. That's great cross promotion for AEW, because like if an MMA fan sees that these guys, legit badasses, by the way, a lot of these guys, especially Arlovski and Del Santos and Masvidal, when you hear that they're on a show like Dynamite, that's gonna immediately pique their interest, and they're gonna be like, I wonder what this is about. And then if they see the stuff that they see that they like, and you possibly got another fan in there as well. Another thing I want to point out, we always make a joke about how, sports entertainment is shit, right? We always, it's a whole deal, right?
Yeah, different, yeah.
This, to me, and I mean this, is sports entertainment done correctly. Because, oh boy, was I fucking sports entertained. Mm-hmm. It really does have that feel, man. Like, there's a lot of like entertainment elements. I mean, if you want to, I'm not saying that actually exists, because we know why it actually exists, but if you want to talk about the entertainment aspect of pro wrestling, this match is the personification of it. I mean, this is going to be entertaining as all hell to watch. The way they built up the program all up to this point, all the way up to Dan Lambert saying it was a busting crab. Shout out to the original inventor, Rocky Johnson. Unbelievable. Fucking great. Great stuff.
I was just good grief on my, again, bottom line, the number one thing that's going to happen here. Dan Lambert gets punched in the face. Everyone goes home happy. But I do agree again.
I agree.
Again.
It's really, there's no way that Inner Circle could take another loss from American Top Team.
And no, this has to be it. Okay,
especially if you're building up Sammy
Third
Guevara.
time's the charm.
And especially if you're building up Sammy Guevara as one of the 4 pillars. I mean, there's no way he's taking a loss to American Top Team under any circumstance. I don't care if he takes the pin or not. He's winning this match. And
Jericho's going to be the one to get his revenge. I feel like with either the Walls of Jericho and or Judas Effect. Mark my words. And Lambert's going to be the guy that eats the pin. Game over like that. It should be fun. Though.
By the way,
Tony Khan trying to bring different worlds of sports together. What's up?
For the record, speaking of that, do you guys know that the main reason why, and I'm pretty sure, I'm not entirely sure about this, but I'm pretty sure this is the reason why it happened. Eddie Kingston's actually training in Muay Thai over at American Top.
I was unaware of that.
I think he might be the connection for that.
I didn't know
he may
that.
be the connection for this. Yeah, no, he's undefeated right now over in that school. They host events there all the time. I didn't even know that until he brought it up on Renee Paquette's show. I had no fucking clue. It didn't even bat an eye. And then I thought about it. I'm like,
I totally forgot he mentioned that on
he
there.
He might be the connection.
Same.
Because I listen to Oral Sessions. Oral Sessions, Offered Shops, and AW Street are like my top 3 podcasts. But that being said, perfect segue.
I mean, then again, it also could have been Punk too. There's a lot of people that have connections.
Well, we already know Punk has like MMA background. He was involved in a UFC fight. We've seen him in the Octagon with Malachi Black. All right, we're just saying. All right, there's more MMA influence in AEW, I think, than we all realize across their roster. But that being said, will that come out in a match that feels more so like a fight? 15 years in the making. CM Punk and Eddie Kingston. They're just going to beat the shit out of each other. It's as simple as that. Or so you would think.
Yes.
I mean, what can we say? What can we say? A match built over 3 weeks with 15 years of built-up hostility. And one man in particular that's very passionate about professional wrestling versus another man and his ideology and his interpretation of that other man in professional wrestling. And all it took was one key word to really send this thing home on Rampage. You're a bum. And then that bum, real talk, expressed what he did and what a bum is to make it to the only professional wrestling company in the world today. That's a shoot. And honestly, he might be right to a degree, but I don't know if I fully agree with that. But that being said, CM Punk and Eddie Kingston, that's not going to be a match. It's going to be a fight. As Kingston just says, he wants to beat this man up. He is his karma. And once I'm done beating you up, I will let you change. So, again, Eddie Kingston, one of the most passionate professional wrestlers I think we'll ever see, if we ever see him live, okay? He does it for the boys. He does it for everybody. Biggest role model, of course, is his mother. I can respect that. He has not really had that huge win yet on pay-per-view, or that huge win I feel like on his own in AEW. But this is CM Punk we're talking about. There's a lot of mixed feelings I have towards this match, and I feel like in result, there's going to be a newfound respect and personality perspective towards Eddie Kingston from not just CM Punk, but the fans. But how do you go against CM Punk right now, honestly?
No way. I mean, everybody knows.
Way.
I gotta go with Punk. I feel like here though, Punk is going to survive this.
Yeah, big time. This is a
versus win this match. It's not going to be.
He's going to win with the Anaconda Vice. He's either going to win with the Anaconda Vice or he's actually going to win with the Pepsi Plunge. He's going to pull up something that he hasn't really sunk it, like that he hasn't. He's either going to win with the Anaconda Vice to pass out Eddie Kingston, or he's going to pull up something out of his ass that he hasn't used.
Well, I mean, Bryan Danielson made Eddie Kingston pass out, of course, to a triangle. I don't know necessarily if you exercise the same finish, or do you just try and put Kingston down? Does he flip you off, and do you put him down again? And that's how you get the win. Kingston's going to go the distance here. He's going to go above and beyond what he did with Bryan Danielson. That's for sure. But I feel like it's going to be.
All I know is I'm ready. I'm ready to see this match. I'm ready to see.
You talk about match of the night candidates. You talk about sleeper matches. There are so many. This is the fight of the night for me. And your thoughts.
Fight of the night, most definitely. And plus, you know what was touched on, which basically. And I felt like it really triggered Punk to set up that headbutt, saying, "Do me a favor. Why don't you quit and leave for 7 years?" And I was like, "Yep." That really went basically okay.
That was so.
Yep, he's no longer
Good.
smiling at that time. At that, he was like, "Oh, I'm done smiling. I'm done talking. I'm a headbutt you. You really want that anti-hero Punk to like plant that little seed come in? Yeah, that little seed just planted of that anti-hero Punk.
We're gonna get a whole new angry, aggressive, gonna get probably booed at some point. CM Punk come full gear. I feel like
exactly, and that's why I feel like, and like y'all guys said, you really can't go against Punk right now.
This really is built like an MMA fight if you really think about it. There's no baby face, there's no heel. It's a neutral thing, and you're gonna cheer for one of the guys. Sometimes you're gonna boo him for other times. This is that kind of fight feel.
These two are well loved by and respected by everybody in and out of AEW, fans and workers alike. So
it's
people are going to have to pick a side.
It's very reminiscent of Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell. It really is.
There you go.
Promo wise right now, and I think a few people have interacted with me when it comes to promo wise when it came to Punk and Kingston. It kind of gave me vibes, and I feel like I agree with on some people who have interacted with me when they touched on it. Do you remember the Punk and Cena rivalry?
Yes.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah. That's
exactly what it was.
Yeah.
We're very reminiscent with Punk being Cena and Kingston being Punk. That's exactly the vibes. Exactly what I got.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely understand that 100% because people are still like, "Oh, CM Punk beat Darby Allin. Darby Allin's buried." No, he's not. But I totally get what you're saying. That is a perfect illustration. Bottom line, real fights. This is going to be good.
And I love, by the way, that there was actually legitimate heat between the two, and the two didn't just bicker and be children on social media, and they saved it. And they saved it for this moment right here on TNT, where they could have a big money match. I'm so happy that they just have the professionalism to do that, number one, and a lot of people in the industry can take notes on what Kingston and Punk did here. Two guys that didn't really like each other and didn't see eye to eye all the time and probably hated each other legitimately in the past, didn't go after each other on social media and made themselves look like fools. Like they aired all their dirty laundry right there on TNT in a work shoot promo, and that's your selling point for this match on pay-per-view. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it.
The art of professional wrestling when it comes to a promo. The art of it was just
long-term storytelling underline.
Yeah, everybody in pro wrestling legitimately should take a page out of the Punk and Kingston playbook after it's all said and done. No question about it.
I'm not going to argue that. But let's go ahead and look at some more professional wrestling here when you got a battle of Lucha Libre. And who's the better at it? As we have the Lucha Brothers, the AEW Tag Team Champions, challenge. Get this. Their challengers, FTR, who stole the AAA Tag Team Champions.
Titles. Dude.
Still to this day, it boggles my mind to even call them the AAA Tag Team Champions. It still feels so.
I look at the graphic and I still can't believe I'm reading AAA Tag Team Champions, FTR, the number one team that is against flips and are only this, the most grounded, old school, smash mouth tag team you will see today in professional wrestling. And they hold
what makes them the ultimate Rudos, by the way. That makes them the ultimate Rudos. This is going to be tremendous in the ring. I mean, dude, these are two of the best teams in the world. And the other 15 are on the same fucking division.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and each one of
this division stats. And these two are two of the best in their field. We're seeing this paper. You would not see this on WWE. You would not see this even in the New Japan. You wouldn't see them go this far the way they've gone. And I love New Japan, by the way. That's no disrespect to them, but they wouldn't even gone as far as they did here. Dude, AEW did something so unbelievable, like with their crossover with AAA and having them win the tag team titles the way they did. And now it builds into the whole Lucha Brothers versus FTR and the Pinnacle and the House of Black. We already touched on that in the beginning, but if we're just talking about the story they're going to tell in the ring, I mean, this could be fucking nuts. I mean, this is going to be two drastically different styles that complement each other so fucking well on pay-per-view. This is such a money match. Like, tag team wrestling. Young Bucks said they wanted to build the best tag team division in the world and one of the best tag teams in the world. You got two of them right here. Like, who the hell thought we were going to get this in 2021? Never mind the fact that FTR, the AAA tag team title holders going into this match. I wouldn't have even predicted that, and I predicted fucking Punk was joining AEW and that Impact was going to have a partnership with AEW.
Both happened.
And both happened. I didn't see this happening.
Tony Khan, man.
You couldn't have told me any freaking way that AAA tag team titles would go to FTR. The ultimate Rudo.
The last team I would ever find in my life, I would see anything associated with Lucha Libre attached to their name.
It's so good.
That
it's
being
a
said,
genius booking move, by the way, on both parties, on both Conan and Tony Khan. Genius.
Yeah, you know Conan's definitely holding the cards in this. That being said, FTR, of course, 1 year removed since losing the AEW Tag Team Championships to, as you alluded to, the Young Bucks, where at one point they went so far idolizing and calling callbacks of finishers of great tag teams of the past. It makes you wonder what tag team classic finishers we might see here, non-Lucha Libre or Lucha Libre. At one point in the very end, FTR went for a flip. Will a flip once again cost them here or actually make them garner history as they want to be the first ever two-time AEW World Tag Team Champions? James, you already talked about how big this match is and the clash of styles, but do you see FTR making history, or is the Lucha Brothers going to carry out their revenge?
Dude, I don't know. This could go either way. This is the match I struggled with the most. I don't know. I thought the Lucha Brothers would lose at the FTR, and then the last week I thought, actually no, the Lucha Brothers could retain that just because of the whole flip thing with the Young Bucks. I don't know. You know what? Fuck it. I'm flipping a coin. Okay. Has its tails. And has its tails. Shut the fuck up.
Has its tails. What
idiot.
Is that?
His brain is broken. His brain is broken.
Autism kicked in. Hold on.
Sorry.
Tails is FTR. Heads is Lucha Brothers. Here we go.
All right.
The decision is?
It's tails.
Okay.
So I guess that means I said tails is FTR, right? And
you said tails is FTR.
Okay, yeah.
You did.
So tails is FTR. I'm going with FTR.
All right. He's gonna rest his brain.
Pick.
He's going to rest his brain in excitement, and now me and King will try and break it, but we probably won't. I'm just going to say this. We already know the future of the AAA Tag Team Championships. FTR are likely to defend them on AAA. They were scheduled to do it at a show, but of course they got rescheduled. The Lucha Brothers just won the titles back at All Out. And there's one thing I know about AEW. They have longevity with their champions because they respect not only the titles, but the title holders. I could break this match down all night, but we still have two key matches to go. So I'm going to simply say that the Lucha Brothers retain and carry out their revenge. Remember, the Lucha Brothers made the challenge here. The challengers did not call out the champions. The champions called out their challengers. Lucha Brothers are out for blood, and I'm pretty sure Alex Abrahantes is out to punch Tully Blanchard in the face. I'm going with the Lucha Brothers to retain the AEW Tag Team Championships. King, you're the decider.
Oh man, me to decide. Yeah, okay. James, what have you always said about FTR when they made their AAA little dynamite debut? What did you call them?
The Ultimate Rudos. And when they first showed up with the mask,
when they first showed up. There you go. Fluff, there it is.
And by the way, it's specifically Luff Frogs because they don't know that it's not a masculine term. It's supposed to be L Frogs, but they call themselves Luff Frogs.
Yep, and then Cash Wheeler with the T-shirt that says Super Ranas. Love the T-shirt. I might have to get me one. Super Ranas. I might have to get that T-shirt.
If I see FTR do a freaking Super Rana, I'm gonna lose my mind.
But when it comes down to it, the way how they booked it was so good. And then like I've always said on our Zoom watch alongs when it comes to Dynamite or Rampage, I've always said this, that the AEW tag team division is always on lockdown because it's so stacked. And every single tag team in that division is so fucking good. It's just basically like, this is one of the best tag team divisions I've ever seen in professional wrestling.
And by the way, it's not even done yet because we're probably going to get an extension in a year from now with trios titles.
Exactly.
No doubt.
The rest of
That's
Lucha
coming.
House Party's released too, so they're probably coming in. Man, who the hell knows what the New Day status is, especially with the ATW What's News? They may come in early.
All right.
I don't know
we
what the hell
we
can
still
happen.
got to finish out the year, James. Calm your brain down.
Yep,
Continue.
Yeah, they might, man. But man, it's a toss up. It really is, because of the fact that the Lucha Bros and FTR, like James said, this could go either way.
Yeah.
But when it like you touched on it, Noah, when it comes to these championship belts in AEW, it's always been about longevity, and which I think these two are going to put on a classic. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And they're going to show you why tag team wrestling matters over here in AEW.
Oh, yeah.
But as far over here, but my prediction, I got the Lucha Bros retaining the AEW World Tag Team titles against FTR because Zero.
Penta says on a level playing field, FDR has no chance. Because again, level playing field, all right? And again, we're going to see all sorts of callbacks here, just like in the Young Bucks match. I'm just wondering if we will actually see some Lucha Libre tactics by FTR. Will they be able to fight on the Lucha Brothers playing field and game? Because when they took on Aerostar and the former Kalisto, they were all out of sorts. They escaped that match, in my opinion. I feel they're in over their heads with the Lucha Brothers, but if there's one thing I know about FTR, you never count them out when it comes to what they can do in tag team wrestling. They've won every title you can think of that they've been able to try and pursue. That being said, they've already held the AEW titles. Lucha Brothers' reign is just starting. That's why I got the Lucha Brothers retaining 2 against 1. But again, this is going to be a hell of a match.
I agree.
All right. Well, King, I think you know what I'm going to talk about next. And I think you know I'm going to start with you, because whether you go Spanish or not, I will leave that up to you. But you want to talk about an incredible tag team division. How about the evolution, no pun intended, or shot taken, of their women's division? As Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, don't forget it, defends the AEW Women's World Championship against, in my opinion, her stiffest challenger to date, and honestly, probably one of the best strikers in all of AEW and probably women's wrestling today, Tay Conti. Tay Conti has been on an incredible up-and-coming journey in All Elite Wrestling, as Tony Khan alluded to, one of his favorites as well. Definitely one of the brightest stars to be developed in AEW. But Dr. Britt Baker, she values this championship more than anything else possible, coming off an incredible title win against both Chris Statlander and Ruby Soho. Britt Baker has held this title now since Double Nothing after defeating the former longest reigning champion Hikaru Shida, and she even went in a great grudge match against Tay Conti's best friend, Anna Jay. While people might already be thinking that Tay Conti is not your time yet, there's that suspension of disbelief that, again, Britt realizes the threat that Tay Conti poses. All the jaw jacking aside and butt joking around as well, apparently Tay believes Britt does not have an ass. She's going to kick her face in. She's gonna,
Wait.
You watch Countdown. You watch Countdown.
Wait a minute.
Tay Conti says that Britt don't have an ass.
You
so
sure?
Gonna kick your face
you
in.
sure you want to start off? You sure you want to start off with me? Because save me to the end. I'm gonna give this one to James.
All right, fine. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't figured it out, he is the biggest Tay Conti fan in all of ATW. That being said, James, let's start off with you. What's your expectations of this match, and do you see the era of D&D continuing, or does D&D become TAY?
First off, I gotta say, look, it's there in front of our faces a lot of the time. Okay, it's there. So I'm gonna just point it out. I don't know what Tay Conti's talking about. She's got a nice butt. I'm not insulting her. For fuck's sake, you're telling me Britt Baker doesn't have a butt? I'm pretty sure a certain Bay would disagree. Dude, are you kidding me? They both got that look. I'm just saying. Anyway,
I'm just recalling what was said on the countdown.
I know. I'm not shooting the messenger here, but what the fuck?
I'm not sure who sound.
How is that
Oh,
even?
boy.
How did that even get brought up? Like,
Because if Dr. Britt Baker talks about you've been showing your ass more, well, I've been kicking ass more, and Ty Conti pulls out the intelligence of Dr. Britt Baker as a dentist when it comes to her promo game, focusing more on her body than her actual athletic capabilities, considering that, hey, now I'm facing for the championship. Do you realize how much of a danger I am to you right now? She could knock her teeth in, and apparently that's what Ty Conti wants to do, as she likes my tweet.
So what?
Ty Conti is going to go dental on the doctor.
Well, I mean, fair enough. I mean, yeah, it did occur to me that Britt Baker has talked a lot about Miss Conti's backside, hasn't she? Just, I guess it's a good metaphor. Fair enough. Thank you for giving me that correlation. I didn't expect that. I honestly wasn't expecting that to actually have an answer.
That being said, this is going to be a challenge of two incredible female athletes' work ethic, and who wants this belt more, who deserves it more. Both of them are incredible up-and-coming rising stars. People say Dr. Britt Baker DMD is like one of the top stars in all of AEW, while Ty Conti has the potential to be one of the next top stars. If there was female pillars, I say Ty Conti is one of your four for sure.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Oh,
if you're talking
definitely.
About female pillars, Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, Tay Conti, Hikaru Shida. By far, those are the four. I mean, they're four of the best work. Actually, and then, like, I feel like that's leaving out Serena Deeb, too, who's also coming around.
You cannot count out the professional wrestling. And I would not count out Anna Jay either.
The woman of 1,000 hoes, Serena Deeb.
Yeah, that's definitely going to play.
And Chris Statlander, too. What an incredible match, by the way, with her and Britt at All Out.
We got such a good women's division now. I remember, like, it was so fledgling in the beginning, and they had some good talent, but it wasn't nearly up to where it needed to be, and now it really is.
It was a slow burn, but look at what the women's division is becoming on AEW. Dynamite and beyond, with the likes of Sky Blue, Kylie King. You got Eva Van. The list goes on and on. But that being
I didn't even realize, too, and that's not even talking about the Tier 0 people, by the way. We're not even talking about Tier 0. So I didn't realize how many people or how many women were in the division until I saw that TBS title bracket. I'm like,
yes,
fuck.
It's so in depth, dude. The women's division is so in depth.
It's only going to continue to grow.
Oh yeah, it's only going to continue to grow, especially with the way the other side's been going. No doubt in my mind that.
Well, I also think about the Forbidden Door, and maybe inevitably we'll finally get the confrontation, the match that the professional wrestling industry wants. But that might come down to if the doctor retains. So, James, while we went into all sorts of tangents, starting with bodies from a different standpoint versus athleticism.
Listen, I heard that she said that she didn't have a butt, and I thought to myself, "What are you talking about?"
I figured. I'm sure most of the internet was like that.
Are you watching the same television? Because you're both on equal par.
Well, to be fair, Ty Conti shows off her incredible physique more than Britt Baker, and I think that's what she more alluded to. And I feel that she felt like Britt disrespected her from that standpoint. In which case, if that's the case, then yeah, I disagree too. That being said, James, what is your pick for this match before we go into an all-night rant about something we shouldn't?
Yeah, I mean, it's Britt Baker all the way. Britt Baker's retaining. It's too soon to take the belt off her. So yeah, that's just it. But this match is going to be great too. Like, this is a very good women's match, and it's an extension of the
King a little bit.
Jurassic Express. Yeah, I did. And it's an extension of what's going on between the Jurassic Express and the Super Click too. So this is really good storytelling on that front as well. And I do love the fact that the female, and I'm glad that they did bring this up at one point with Britt Baker's backstage promo, which kicked this whole thing off, by the way.
Yes.
It started with her and Anna Jay and then transitioned into her and Tay Conti.
Yes.
I love that they include the women in the storylines with the men. I don't know what the hell is happening on the other side. They don't do that. I've heard that they just haven't done it. Like and it shows that when they just released BFAB from Hit Row too. So it's like, I'm glad that AEW does include the women in the male storyline department too. And,
right, but it doesn't like overshadow either side, and it's not like you need them in intergender direction either, which I feel is very important because you don't see them like literally with each other at the same time either.
Yeah.
So that being said, I look at the match like this: potential. Ty Conti continues to showcase and grow. She has unbelievable, incredible potential. And congratulations, by the way, Ty Conti, on your first action figure. It wins the Prime if King tries to pre-order it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, she deserves it. She deserves everything she's gotten, okay? Perseverance.
Oh, no, we broke King. We broke King right there. Now, King, don't get too excited, okay?
No, it didn't froze. Yeah, yes, King. In case you haven't been following Twitter, I'm surprised by that. Your girl, Ty Conti, finally has her own figure. Congratulations. That being said, this is the second.
Do not get it out of your head, King. I know what you're thinking.
Action figure, King. Let's be civil here. All right. I know we're men, but
this ain't no hentai figurine, okay?
Oh God. Why'd you brought that word up here? They're not even in Japan. All right. I know Kenny Omega's an anime fan, but Jesus. They start doing that, Lord help us. That being said, I keep saying I look at women in professional wrestling, but kudos to their beauty as well. That being said, Ty Conti, this is her second AEW World Championship match in her AEW career. She took Hikaru Shida to the limit, and again, I feel that Britt Baker, she's going to have to try and overcome Ty Conti's striking game, because that is where she succeeds. If that pump kick hits, that's a game changer. But also, something tells me that Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, is not going to be alone here. Then again, she mostly went at it by herself against Chris Statlander, though she did have Jamie Hayter and Rebel in her corner during Grand Slam. But this is pay-per-view. Britt's going to be out to prove a point, I feel like, too. So I definitely do have Dr. Britt Baker, DMD retaining. As far as what's next, with the TBS tournament now coinciding in this division and tying up most of that division, too, I really don't know, but longer term, I do feel like it is going to be Thunder Rosa versus Britt down the line. And the fact that Thunder Rosa and Ty Conti and Anna Jay form a trio, I love that. But that being said, I got Dr. Britt Baker retaining too. Now, we've already broken King. I'm sure he's just been waiting in anticipation. He's got his favorite involved in this, but he's also got the doctor involved in this. And he knows how good and how driven Dr. Britt Baker is too. King, you're on point.
Ty Conti, ever since coming to AEW, I mean, we've seen this woman in NXT, and I felt like she was underutilized over there. Even though
everyone does.
She had so much potential down there. I don't know why you had her in NXT so underutilized and didn't even use her as much. But then when Tony Khan gets her on his payroll, and all of a sudden I'm just like, wow, another NXT talent you let go who had so much potential, and then I'm just like blowing minds away, and she's just like one of the best female wrestlers that I've ever encountered. That's why she's one of my favorites of her athletic ability, her background, and in general. And when you come with the doctor, ever since she's been white hot on this title run, ever since back at Double or Nothing this shit, she has been white hot with this momentum she's been carrying. It's still too early to take that title off of Britt, but
you can even go far with the momentum as far as the St. Patrick's Day Slam match with the Lights Out.
Exactly, and I do want to bring this up before we move on to what we want to talk about in the main event.
Yes.
Deonna Purrazzo did say her end goal after her Impact contract was up was to sign with AEW. And with this Forbidden Door about to still happening right now with Impact and AEW, we haven't seen Deonna Purrazzo in quite some time. And when the doctor retains, and we all know when it comes to pay-per-views, when it comes to Tony, he loves to give us those surprises.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we will see the Virtuosa and the doctor in the center of the ring in Minneapolis at Full Gear?
It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible. She has been MIA, like you said, since losing the Knockouts Championship to Mickie James in an incredible match at Bound for Glory. But she will be back on Impact Wrestling this coming Thursday. in an interview.
I must say that in my personal opinion, right, they talked about how the Impact partnership, quote unquote, ended, right?
Is not.
If that's the case, I mean, really, here's my thing. We didn't know where Don Callis was for weeks. And then he came
6
out
weeks.
as the
6
cameraman.
Weeks. I've been hiding in my basement.
He came out as the cameraman and he disguised himself, and there he was. He was right there in plain sight. I think the same could absolutely be happening in the case of Deonna Purrazzo showing up on AEW before her interview with Impact happened. I guarantee that's exactly what's happening.
I definitely agree with that.
And the seeds are right there. And that brings me to another situation as well, where she is in a match, and we talked about this earlier before we were on air tonight, but there is going to be WrestleCade, and Mercedes Martinez, Deonna Purrazzo, and Thunder Rosa are in the same match. So Thunder could also factor into the situation as well some point down the line.
Indeed.
And you know that there's some unfinished business between Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, and everybody wants to see that one-on-one match. There's a lot of moving parts in this female division. There's a ton, right?
Yeah.
You know that Thunder Rosa is going to the final round of the TBS title tournament, which you ultimately, I think, we think is going to be a loss to Ruby Soho because she's going for that AEW World Title against Britt Baker.
Possibilities are there.
The placeholder feud between that time absolutely is Britt Baker and Deonna Purrazzo. That's the biggest women's match you could get right now, unless Ronda Rousey is somehow tied. That ain't happening right now.
Boy, you crazy. Boy, you crazy.
Deonna for at least right now. But Deonna Purrazzo absolutely coming in. Now that said, Britt Baker absolutely has to retain. We know that.
Right.
But with Deonna Purrazzo, man, the possibilities are endless if she comes in, because that means that if the knockout women from Impact are going to be involved in this division too, and God knows who else on the NWA side could still show up, even if they wanted to. So there's a lot of different things they could do here. There's a ton. And
beauty of this shared wrestling universe. I think you've basically summed it up to a T. And again, Ty Conti, very strong in multiple disciplines, former jiu-jitsu type Olympian, has multiple belts in MMA and arts. I feel that Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, is going to have a lot to contend with, and it's going to be interesting how she tries to overcome the many disciplines that Ty Conti is definitely going to execute and bring forward in this title match, as she continues to always grow in her fierce striking capability and her incredible in-ring showcasing. We're in for a great women's clash for sure.
King, by the way, you said Britt Baker's retaining, right? I don't know if you gave a prediction. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, we're all.
I wanted to point out.
But don't count out Ty, is all I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
No one's counting out Ty. That said, we should also bring this up. Shout out to Tay Conti, Anna Jay, and Thunder Rosa on this week's Dynamite for coming out in the pink attire for breast cancer awareness.
Yes.
First off, very lovely on those ladies. Number two, great marketing strategy by Tony Khan to sell T-shirts for AEW. For breast cancer awareness month, the campaign going on. Mm-hmm. And number three, phenomenal babyface move by all three. That was great. Good stuff.
Bravo. Well put, James. Well put. Well, I love how you basically inputted the other piece towards really what started this whole Forbidden Door thing, this whole AEW World Championship saga that we're currently in now to begin with. But like I said, and I'm simply going to say this, since day one of AEW, there has been one ultimate long-term story in this company, and I simply call it the story of the uncrowned champion. As Heyman Adam Page has taken us on an emotional roller coaster in singles, in tags, in and out of the ring, in confidence, in doubt, in depression, in anger, in trying to prove something to himself or find self-confidence against the guy right now that owns the wrestling industry, and I dare someone to tell me otherwise. I don't care if you're a chief. I don't care if there's a new day of the week. I don't care if you call yourself a wrestling god. There's only one AEW World Champion, and his name is Kenny by God fucking Omega. That being said, yeah, I know I'm going to get trashed for that. Don't care. That being said, this is going to be an incredible match. Literally a company in the making. Some say over 1 year in the making. I say literally since the birth of AEW. This saga has to end. I have been on the edge of my seat for this thing multiple times. Part of me felt like it should have ended all out 2 years to the day that he lost, becoming the inaugural AEW World Champion to, of course, Le Champion, Chris Jericho. He then had his chance to try and get back into the title scene, but fell short with the aid of some friends that he wasn't sure if he really could be friends with, because he wasn't sure if he could really connect with anybody or if he should trust anybody else, not even himself. He's now find renewed resolve in himself, not only being a father, but finding confidence to believe that the fans back me up. I should back myself up. I do have friends that actually back me up, don't wish to put me off to the wayside. And now I need to bring forward this cowboy shit to finally be something that I know I can be. And that is the AEW World Champion. And in less than 7 minutes, it all culminated in a simple contract signing where, simply put, good job, Hangman. I'm proud of you. Define, according to Hangman, fear in Kenny Omega, who believes he saw a little bit of himself in the Hangman. Honestly, when I think about these guys' journeys, their ideologies, and that promo, I definitely understand where Kenny Omega was coming from. I definitely understood where Hangman was coming from, too, with the former tag team partner reference as well. That being said, I could talk about this match all night.
Oh, and let's not forget
honestly,
about the
we
rest
all
of the
could.
build. Hold on.
So I'm not going to say a prediction. I just want to get other people's thoughts on this story, how you interpret this, and what's your thoughts going into this match. James, I will start with you.
Before we even get to that, you forget one key thing about the build, or two key things actually, because we just watched Rampage as we're recording this as well.
Yes.
Don't forget that Adam Page got bloodied up by Don Callis, who we mentioned, disguised himself as a cameraman and assaulted Adam Page with Kenny, and had Kenny write his initials in Hangman's own blood on the contract. And then the next episode of Rampage, after the Elite get done cutting their promo and they tell Hangman they can move away after Hangman and Cole have a face-to-face, again, more subtle seeds that there could be an era and Elite split here. We'll get to that later when we get there. Adam Page apologizes for costing them their tag team titles all the way back in 2020 at All Out that year. Or no, I'm sorry.
Revolution.
Leading up to All Out that year. Yeah. That was so good that they brought that up. But he also said, you cost me my world championship shot. So as far as I'm concerned, we're even. But if you even think of getting involved in my match, I will ruin you. Interesting. Very interesting. Does the friendship that the Young Bucks have for Hangman Page go that deep that they, after he just apologized to them, do they forgive him? Do they try to be his friend again? Do they subtly start to turn babyface while Adam Cole becomes jealous? There's a lot of intricate parts here, but it all leads into one end result. Hangman's winning. This is too much. You cannot, I don't care what Bully Ray says, I don't care what anybody else says. Hangman has to win this match. No doubt. He has to. This is, since the beginning of AEW, you put it perfectly, Noah. Like they have built up Hangman Page as the uncrowned AEW World Champion. He came up short at All Out. He hasn't gone for the title since. He's come very close, but always fell short. He's now never been closer. He's just as close as he was at the first ever All Out. all the way back in September 2019. He's got to win it here. He's got to win against Omega. They've built this up perfectly since the dawn of AEW. So there's no way they're not going to, in my opinion.
You couldn't have asked for a more wilder, emotional roller coaster ride for a professional wrestler since the start of a company towards ultimately becoming the guy in the company. And Kenny Omega suddenly alluded to, you lose in big match situations. You fear failures. If it wasn't for your flaws, if it wasn't for your mistakes, and Hangman's owned to that too. For a long time, it was the one thing that defined Hangman and held him down. He's finally found peace with that. And ultimately, I feel like that's what's going to lead him to the ultimate victory. This might be the match that gives us the spot you never thought you would see. And that is somebody surviving the one-winged angel. How deep, how far will this match go in what needs to be? Not what I'm necessarily saying will be, but what needs to be. 99% I am positive it needs to happen that Heyman Adam Page becomes the AEW World Champion. Now, King, I know you're all elite. I know you're wearing the elite shirts. You and I both know how big of a fan we are of Kenny Omega. But you cannot deny the storytelling that Kenny Omega puts forward in everything he does professional wrestling. And why I feel like still as a heel, what he said Wednesday was about, I did this out of necessity. I feel there's some solid truth to that because at the end of the day, I think Kenny Omega wanted Heyman to truly be in that spot, that mindset, that state where he can lead AEW. Kenny Omega wanted to change the world. He's done that on multiple fronts. I don't think you can do a bigger world change right now than Hangman becoming the new AEW World Champion. Your thoughts?
Kenny, one thing, and it basically ties in with this whole thing. Kenny Omega has been having that same Twitter cover, that same Twitter all-out cover from 2019. Who was the first AEW World Champion? Jericho. Who was the second? Moxley. Who was the third? Omega. And who was that last person in that all-out 2019 graphic that he still has on his Twitter head cover? Hangman. Teases right there from day one. It's basically AEW was meant for Hangman. The way this emotional roller coaster has been, basically he felt doubt. He left his friends in the Dark Order, even though he wasn't really a member of the Dark Order, but he left his friends in the Dark Order. He felt like he felt like he was feeling doubt. He felt like he was losing confidence. And then he took weeks off in real life situation to become a father. And then to set it up for his return, they did it so perfect with the casino ladder match on that anniversary show, because that pop that he got when he came back was tremendous. When he came out as the Joker in that ladder match and hit that, what was it? What was it called? Deadeye? Yes, the Deadeye.
Yes.
The Deadeye on the table. Oh my God. And then reached up and got the chip. And basically that pop that he gets is basically so tremendous.
And the pop, by the way, that would continue to get louder as each show went on. With every promo he got, with every movement he did, with every match he had.
Bringing forward cowboy shit.
Yeah, because this is truly cowboy shit. I mean, he is the mega baby face. I don't think you can't get any more mega baby face than Hangman Page. He is that mega baby face that you just basically want to cheer and cheer and cheer on. And then basically when he came back and he did that backstage interview set after that first commercial break, one rose to the top, he was still feeling, a little self-doubt that, he won, but he was like, when shall I time this? When should I go after Kenny? And then all of a sudden, it was like he was starting to feel confident. He got his friends back in the Dark Order. And then all of a sudden, he started feeling confident and more confident as the weeks went on. And then, boom, there it was. When he cut that promo, on Dynamite. Oh my God. Yeah, that's when Hangman was truly confident in himself that, okay, I can beat Kenny. I know Kenny. I basically was in the elite with Kenny in the Bucks. I know what he's capable of in that ring. All I got to do is basically, if he hits that one-winged angel, I'm going to find a way to kick out of it. And he's definitely going to be that one person to kick out of the one-winged angel besides Ibushi.
Thank you.
Besides Ibushi. And basically, I'm a big Kenny fan. We're all big Kenny fans here. But at the end of the day, at the end of tomorrow, basically it's 1:15 over here Central Time. At the end of tonight, yeah, it's time. It is time. It's Hangman's time to basically let's go with the title reign that we basically long-term the storytelling for 2 years. Basically, because 2 years, because last year these two met at Full Gear in that same AEW World Title Eliminator tournament, but Kenny beat Hangman. Now it's time for Hangman to get that win, but not only that win, but also become the new AEW World Champion. And I think that's going to get the biggest pop to close out the show.
No doubt. No doubt.
It could be the biggest pop in AEW
pop
this whole year.
And by the way, I mean, I will say probably second biggest because nothing's going to top that. Nothing.
Oh yeah, you're right. See the CM Punk thing.
Nothing.
You're right. Nothing's going to top that. It could be the second biggest, but yeah, you're right. You're right.
But he will get a level of CM Punk style pop. I no doubt in my mind he's going to get that kind of pop.
The energy.
Got held ovation at Double or Nothing, so he's got it.
The energy we're going to feel from the audience on the edge of their seats, just wondering what's it going to take for Heyman to finally overcome the clearing. Can he do it? Does the audience fully believe in the Heyman? Are those that still doubt him in the audience? Will that affect the Heyman's psyche at all? And to think, Heyman and Page won this opportunity for the title in a casino-based type match as the Joker.
Just like he did before. Yeah. And this is another thing too. Think about this too. The way everything's been lining up, we've been predicting. Some of us predicted Miro could win against Bryan, but even if Bryan wins, there's some contenders for Page being the champion now.
Yes.
You got Danielson, you got Miro, you got Moxley, you got Page, Page Cole, you got MJF towards the end of that. All of that. You could even have a match with Matt Jackson, who he's had the most turmoil with.
Yes.
When it comes to the two Bucks, that's a lot of contenders for Hangman to go, whether that's on TV or pay-per-view. So they've set the field up nicely for Page for a very lengthy title run, which is why I think a lot of people thought to themselves that maybe Hangman shouldn't win because they didn't know who the heck Hangman should face. Now it's clear as day that he has some contenders on who to face.
I would also add Powerhouse Hobbs to that because he has history with Team Taz, and Powerhouse Hobbs is in the top 5.
That's true. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line is this: we end Full Gear with the crowning of the Hangman as AEW World Champion.
And but the way they told this story is very similar, even though it's completely different because 2 different worlds. But I mentioned this before on the program. I'll say it again. No doubt in my mind, they're telling a Johnny Cash-esque story here with the Hangman.
No doubt.
It's going to culminate in such a triumphant moment. The way that Hangman conducts himself is very similar to how Johnny Cash would conduct himself IRL. And the storytelling has been beautiful, and I've never seen someone so over organically because of it. Like, this is gold. It's very much gold here, and there's no way you can pass this opportunity up. You say it's 99.9. I'm going with 110. He's got to win that title. Got it.
It's got to happen. And plus, and that's why I feel like that's going to start the domino effect of the elite. That's right there. want to start it.
Which is more long-term storytelling. There's so many there's so many story arcs being in place right now. It's unbelievable.
It's going to be interesting how it also changes maybe the reflection of BTE, which of course I came up with too, which, as you know, guys, definitely comes into play when it comes to the Elite and the way their stories run on Dynamite. There's longer term stories planned for the Elite where I feel that they're going to be humbled, embarrassed, and from within betrayed. Just saying. And I'll let y'all's minds wander towards that because, again, we could be here all night, but I think
and again, as we mentioned, he probably won't be the only one betrayed. Cody will be too.
There's a lot of things, a lot of things changing,
a lot of moving parts,
a lot of things moving around in AEW. 2022, as Tony Khan alluded to, is going to be extremely interesting. Considering right after Full Gear, we have information about the Owen Cup to come. We have the TBS tournament and the TBS move, and who knows who will show up next in AEW too.
Also to touch on that, stay tuned for Dynamite because he did say something about the ROH talent as well.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's massive, and I already know because I think there was a tweet. There was some dirt sheet rumored that he signed the likes of EC3 and company. There's a lot of people coming from that ROH side. So I believe that the people's contracts that are up in December, they're showing up on Dynamite at some point during the holiday season.
It wouldn't surprise me, Dynamite or
and by the way, that's in addition to people that were released in WWE that had a 30-day non-compete. That's in relation to people that are gonna let their contract expire, like O'Reilly and Gargano. There's a lot in the free market. There's a lot in the free market of wrestling right now.
Again, there's a lot of promise towards what's to come in the wrestling industry, especially to AEW and through AEW too. As this Forbidden Door opens even more, it seems, bringing chaos forward too. A lot to think about, gentlemen. A lot to think about.
Chaos involved as well. During this whole time, we forgot to mention the fact that, we haven't, since this is a legitimate program, Chaos is officially in AEW canon via Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends and Wheeler Yuta. What the fuck? Who the hell saw that coming? Okada's all elite without Okada's all elite without saying he's all elite. He hasn't even made an appearance yet, and people know he's all elite.
That's
don't forget also part of Chaos. The Ishii as well.
Yes, that's right. I'm just waiting for Tomohiro Ishii, both of which are in America right now.
They also teased Tanahashi before, and they teased Ibushi now on television.
And Kenta has called out. Going on? And Kenta has called out CM Punk.
Remember, guys, Wrestle Kingdom is 3 nights this upcoming year.
Yes, it is. And we are literally just under 2 months away. Prepare, gentlemen. But that being said, for now, let's go ahead and rest our minds. We are literally, and I kid you not, literally under about, 12 and 7. Yeah, we're literally under 20 hours away from AEW Full Gear, the final pay-per-view of 2021 for AEW's quarterly base year. It's going to be a show to remember. There's going to be moments, shocks, and I feel surprises galore, and a lot of fans look forward to too. I can't wait. Again, gentlemen, good luck. This is a pleasure doing a video with you. Folks, we'd love to hear your thoughts, your opinions, your predictions, your insight, your overall expectations, and your overall just interpretations of all things wrestling and all things elite wrestling too. What match are you looking forward to? Are you going to check out the pay-per-view? Are you going to try and find it online? I know people do that too. Are you going to follow AEW? Have you followed AEW yet? Or do you know somebody that follows AEW? Connect with us. We are ATW. We enjoy all things wrestling, but especially AEW. # We're All Elite. We'd love to hear from you too. That being said, good stuff, gentlemen. I wish you both good luck in predictions. James, why don't you go ahead, plug and promote your stuff, and where can people connect and find you?
You guys can follow me on my main YouTube channel, youtube.com/user/JHEBERTSIDE95. That's a mouthful, but sometimes people get my last name confused with Herbert instead of Hebert, so I have to be specific.
Put an R in there.
So yeah, check me out on there. I do occasionally I do Team Menace, which is ironically the most popular thing on my channel, although I do a lot of other things too, podcasts like Indy Force, Open Mic Night, all there. Check it out, all under the umbrella of FTW Productions. Check that out. Hopefully Eric can teach me how to use Linktree, because that would be a big help. I need that. I'm gonna fucking forget. That said, though, you guys can also find a part of the FTW Productions umbrella, youtube.com/user/WYW Pride. That's my CIW League. Immortal is still going strong in the view count. We're almost to 3,000 total concurrent viewers across 3 separate channels. The biggest one being on Casey's, over 1,000 viewers on that. So keep giving it love, keep giving it support. Share it with your friends, your family, your loved ones. I think it's great. And I'm still proud of that work. I'm still proud of what we were able to accomplish there. And the best, by the way, is yet to come. You want to talk about, it's not going to be 2022, but it will be 2023. So if you think 2022 is going to be crazy in pro wrestling, wait until the CAW realm comes in, because when we show up with our show, you ain't seen nothing yet. That's all I'm going to tell you. We're going to bring a lot of wrestling as well. So I can't wait for that. So stoked. And by the way, check out Wrestling Fortune 44, youtube.com/user/Wrestling Fortune 44. Videos should be posted after All Out weekend, or All Out weekend, listen to me, Full Gear weekend.
Botch.
So check that out. Probably a fantasy, probably a retro, and more than likely another retro with my new webcam, because that will actually be recorded in recent time. So definitely give a shout to that and check that out. And that's all I got to plug. That's a lot to plug, but that's all I got going on.
Well, you're a busy man. You got great passion in your work, and you should. And congrats to all your success. I wish you more going forward. And James, it's always a pleasure you being part of ATW and these forums too. We appreciate you. King.
You're gonna plug the Jeff Meacham thing though, right? Probably.
Yeah, of course. King, man, we've been ATW since day one. We've been all elite since day one. We are in for a wild ride under 24 hours. It's always a pleasure, my friend, coexisting with you on this forum and the Twitterverse too. Where can other great people, wholesome and wise and good all elite fans connect and find you?
Man, follow me on Twitter at AMTXXIII23. Follow me on Instagram, same name but different. It's lowercase AMTXXIII.23. You can follow me there on Twitter and on Instagram. If you want to connect with me on Twitter, usually I'll post, quote, requote tweets, post some funny stuff, and then post, if you want your all elite Dynamite, Rampage, Dark Elevation, Dark match cards, I'll post them there too.
Get the Full Gear ready, man. You got a 10-card graphic to make.
It's already been made, brother. It's already ready to post it as soon as I wake up in the morning.
A good deal. I've already pinned mine. And folks, again, I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. It's as simple as that. So find me on Instagram, Twitter, and keep following this YouTube channel here, and in Foster 1916 for all fans of wrestling. Of course, shout out to the ATW crew, the entire family, including those not here, but including not limited to Nick Setters, Indigo, JD Ultra, Casey Flynn, our queen, Megan Chiba, Indy Darling, Cindy J.
I want to do a show with her, by the way, one day. I hope we can actually make that work.
I think one day. Cool. I think one day it could happen. Our Inquirer, of course, at Neo Reality Entertainment. The Kid Bandit, member, of course, graduate of the Nightmare Factory. I'm probably forgetting other names too, but literally my brain's about fried. Our Enforcer, Lex, I'm pretty sure I said Indigo. If I forgot somebody, I so sorry. May you forgive me too. And again, folks, as James was about to allude to, stay tuned. I will be part of the Jeff Meacham Network live reactions. Watch along, and you'll just get the live reactions and commentary from me, James Huber, Kiss Gallagher, Christopher Rotz, and who knows who else might show up with, of course, Jeff Meacham in the background. Link to that will be, or to his network will be in the description down below. And come join my little AEW Pay Predictions League. The forum is on my Twitter as well. You got till kickoff. So come here, all elite. Let your predictions be heard. These two gentlemen just confirmed theirs, as well as other members of the ATW family. Let's see who can call it right, and shout out to, of course, the proper podcaster, Joseph Kahn. I knew I was getting somebody. As always, I like to close. There are no winners, there are no losers, there are no bears. They're just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. So at the end of the day, folks, support one another and respect each other, and just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. It's as simple as that. as my other monitor just went. So I know I've been going way too long. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell when the next video goes on this channel. Hit the subscribe button. Help me keep growing this channel. Shout out to all 200 and I've lost count now. I think 18 subscribers been with me on this fun YouTube creator's journey. It's not anytime soon. There will be content to cover NJPW Wrestle Kingdom. That'll probably be the first video go up in 2022. And I think because we know our biggest professional wrestling things end come the end of November, with the exception of one last Impact Plus Special 2, maybe for the first time ever, we'll do an ATW Awards show too, calling out our favorite
I'm down.
matches,
I'm
Down
down
with
that.
that. Let's go.
superstars, wrestlers. Each of us will pick one, and then we will vote, and majority will rule, and we'll also post polls on the Twitter as well. So stay tuned for more on that, because again, your opinions matter. We're all just fans at the end of the day, in one way or another, for this love and passion we call professional wrestling. That being said, I think
By the way, you're at 219 subscribers.
Oh, thank you. Again, it's not about me. It's about wrestling. Humble to connect with great people like you two and the lot of you that follow this supplement too. Again, folks, I think I've said enough. I think we've talked enough. I think we've expressed our excitement and interest enough where we will now bid you all a fine adieu. Take care. Enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure families and enjoy wrestling. JR, please take care of yourself, my friend. Please wish JR, of course, folks, all your best wishes and prayers as he deals with certain situations too. If you also are dealing with situations, find a friend. Let's support one another. Encourage one another. Do not discourage. Do not belittle. Do not toss to the side. No matter what you go through, you're not alone. We're all human at the end of the day. We all face challenges, but we're stronger together, not alone. And that's all I got to say about that. Thanks for tuning in. And I think for James Morgan Freeman Hebert and the all
And
elite.
thus concludes another podcast with Noah Foster and friends. And until next time, toodaloo.
I don't think I need to say anything else. Thank you, folks, for tuning in once again to another ATW View. Adieu.